Okay, now I'm going to do another video of just me chain stitching a bunch of these. So I had that first one done, so we'll set him off to the side. But I'm just going to kind of show you, let me zoom out, kind of how I go about doing this. I have a bunch of them right here, and what I like to do at first is they're all cut out, they're in a stack. I like to go through and put the right sides together and do a clip. And you can either do the clip or not, just helps them stay together, and I set that to the side. Then I will grab my next bit, my next one, put them together. Now this one I probably should have ironed before I started on this, because see all the wrinkles, but I can make it work. I'd say iron them if they've got a lot of wrinkles, so then you don't get things all stitched funny. And so you can put a couple clips on it. If you need clips, let me know. I have a ton of them. Or you can order them off Amazon if you want. And then I'll do my next one. And I'm just gonna do this while you're watching. And you can either skip this video if you kind of get the hang of it. This isn't a have to watch kind of thing, but this just kind of gives you a little idea of how I kind of do things. I usually have a little pile of threads that I cut and use right there. So that one. And again, if you have any questions, or if you are just really uncomfortable or nervous and you want me to like sit down with you and do this, we can. Or if you want to video call me and see how you're doing, or if you have any questions, you can. Our big thing, she is a little bit kind of specific in how she likes things done. So, but I think I finally found a groove on what she wants and what is going to be the quickest, easiest way to stitch these up, because there's some ways that just take forever, and if you're trying to like stitch up a ton of these as fast as you can so we can, get better money, you don't want to be doing it this slow way. So this fabric's been washed. Usually we don't wash the fabric, but I'm selling her some of my old fabric that I don't want, and so I sent her pictures. She decides what she wants, and so some of the fabric has been washed, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. It's got all those threads from being washed. Okay. All right, so I've got them all put the correct way to sew with clips on the end. And so now I'm just going to show you the chain stitching and how I do that. So I put the first one under, and again, I don't even go off the mark like I told you before. I just eyeball it. I've got really good line skills. So, and this part is not really specific. It's not a big deal if it's a little janky, because scrunchies scrunch up so you don't see a lot of the problems or mistakes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go. And then what you are gonna wanna do is when you open this up, I don't know if you can see, but because this fabric has been washed, that means there's frayed edges, and I hit right on those frayed edges, but that means that it might be coming apart. So I'm gonna put my seam down further, because that means it'll come apart easily, which we don't want because it's all frayed down there. All right, now that's a lot better. I don't know if you can see from where we're at, but now I've got the seam down in here rather than up there in the frays. Okay, that'll be good. Usually it's not that hard. When the fabric hasn't been washed, it's a lot easier to do and to go off of. Okay, now remember, one of the hard things about chain piecing is as you're going along, kind of you got to make sure you front and back stitch, which I can do because I've gotten really, you know, but you might need to stop before you get to the end, go a couple stitches in, then front and back stitch. Normally you would be like, okay, I'm about to start, so I'm gonna do a couple in, couple back. If you need to go that slow, that's 100% fine. But if you're a little bit more practiced at it, then you can just let it go, do a front and back. Plus, actually on your machine, the front and back, I think you have to pause before you front and back it, before you send it into reverse. This machine, not so much. I can just hit that button as it's sewing along. Well, I don't know about the Singer. I haven't done it like that. Now, if you noticed, I needed to kind of check my sewing. So rather than sending that stitch, the next one right in, so that they're close together, I lifted the foot up and pulled. I did the front and back stitch, and then I stopped, lifted the foot up, and then pulled it a little bit so I can look. I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting in the fray area. And then I'm just gonna keep it, so it's still kind of chained, it's a longer chain. So I'm gonna put my thread back behind and go back. And then I'll put this set in and start going again. And so they're still chained together. It's just a longer chain because I kind of had to check things. Now I'm making a really big seam on these, if you've noticed, because I really should have ironed it first because of the wrinkles and especially because of the fraying that it's got going. But again, that's not going to be a big deal if you have a bigger seam in this point of the sewing. Okay, now we've got our chain done, all of these ones. So now I'm just going to use my little razor over here, my little cutter, and cut each one between. And there we go. We've got one, well, we've got that first one I did. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 headband things so far. Okay, I will stop this video and next I will show you the next step to doing this.